Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with a new session of Evermore le Masquerade. This is an ongoing D&D 5th edition campaign that we've been playing here on the channel. It takes place in a homebrew world of mine known as Rosfin, particularly in the kingdom of Gerdes, which is kind of a mixture of Baroque Spain, France, Venice, with a little bit of Orlais from the Dragon Age series kind of thrown in. This will be our 35th session, and it is titled A Crown Unburdened. This campaign has been fantastic so far. I've always wanted to run a game in this setting, but have never had the courage or found the right people to really kind of delve into it. And I'm really, really, really pleased with how this has gone so far. So I definitely picked the right group. Speaking of which, we'll get to introduce them in just a moment, and they will be able to plug what they have going on, whether you can find them on the internet and all that kind of jazz. But before we do, I want to give the same warning that I give on the beginning of all of my games, and that is, if foul language and mature subject matter are a problem for you, then I don't know how you ended up here, but this place is scary and bad, and you should turn around. But if those kinds of things do not bother you, then welcome. You are among like company. Particularly this game, while there will never be explicit sex featured in the game, will get pretty close some of the time because it is a part of the culture, and that's just the kind of people we are. So what else? I think that's everything that I need to touch on. So I'm going to pass it over now and let my players say hello. First up is Karen, since Kenya's not here.
I knew you were going to do that. So I left my mic unmuted so I wouldn't mess it up. Anyway, hello, everyone. I'm Karen, also known as Lifting Gears, also known as, well, that's it, actually. But tonight I get to play, Isabel and Scary, who used to be Cameron Diego Ruiz Gazala. I just wanted to say that once more. Anyway, cannot wait to look. No, that's the word I want to say. Cannot wait to play. Yeah, because I'm already here. I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to pass it on to Austin before I really mess things.
Let's see. I'm Austin, also known as Chunderfuck. Also known as Billy Zane's shorter stunt double. Okay, I don't have any AKAs. I'm not on the internet anywhere significant. I am excited to play this game, though. I'll be playing Guillaume as always, except that one time I was Pig. I do still love that. Fond memories. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add today other than I'm super excited to get back to this after what feels like a long time. We played at the beginning of last month, so it feels like it's been forever, and I'm super excited to see all of y'all, -1. Yeah, just psyched to get into this, and with that, I will pass it to M.
Hi everyone, I'm Em. I will be playing Sylvie, and yeah, super stoked that we were able to play today. Yeah, can't wait to jump into it, and I'll pass it to Matt.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt. I'm in my bedroom tonight because my office is the darkest, quietest place in the house, and there's a sick chicken recuperating in there. So we're gonna let her sleep, and I'm gonna play in here. So yeah, really excited to play tonight. It's been too long since we played, and while I will miss Kenya, I'm excited that we were able to make tonight happen. So yeah. So stoked. Let's do this.
Hell yes. Indeed, Kenya, we do miss you. We'll look forward to the next time that you're at the table with us. But I think, without further ado, we are ready. The Gerdessi are a people obsessed with perfection. A body without blemish is a work of art to be cherished and marveled at in awe. Thus, scars are frowned upon, covered, and hidden from public scrutiny, a reminder of a mistake best left forgotten. But not all people feel so ashamed. There is a phrase in Orcish that translates roughly as, "I am proudly shaped by my past, and I carry the marks to prove it." Perhaps there is wisdom in recognizing that some scars are a token of the painful removal of a poisonous part of what defined us before. We find ourselves still in the lower mountain ranges of Manchalona, where things for the denizens of this town have not been sunshine lately. they have been a bit harried here in the city, as they have kind of been used as chattel for the brides of Borjido, the castle of the vampire that exists higher up in the mountains. In addition, their dear sweet leader, the Doge, who was in charge of this city, was not exactly the cheeriest fellow either. And one of our characters in particular had a little bit of a past with this Doge, and the result of which is now the heap of his body lying on the ground, losing its blood very quickly in a gathering pool beneath his large body. And quite a few of his retinue of bodyguards and mercenary justicaros lie dead, scattered around the room. Some of them run through, some of them immolated by fire, some of them shocked to death by lightning. This scene has been chaos, mayhem, that has just unfolded in this grand, opulent staircase that belongs to the mansion of this Doge. And we find our heroes fresh at the end of this struggle. So in the immediate aftermath of this battle, what's going on? What's happening?
I think Isabella is actually probably still very emotional. She took out a lot of anger on this body while it was lying there. And I think at this moment she's still on the ground, like kneeling up to by the body, just head down close to her knees, just sobbing out the whole thing, like getting rid of all the fear, the anger, all that pent up feelings inside, as this I'm not gonna say the trauma has ended, but the source is no longer.
Isabel, as you kneel next to the pooling blood, trying to gather yourself, you happen to look down into this expanding pool of crimson, and suddenly you see a figure appear behind you in the reflection. As if leaning over you, admiring your work. This figure wears a mask, not too dissimilar from Chimeran, but this mask is made out of carved bone. And they wear robes of crimson that is decorated with talons and bones and teeth. And this strange face, this mask, just kind of like stares down at you through this reflection. And then it reaches out and touches your forehead. If you would like, you can make a religion roll.
All right, this is a straight roll. That is a 10.
A 10. Okay. You have absolutely no idea who or what this entity is. To clarify, none of the rest of you see this figure, either in the reflection or otherwise.
I think as it reaches out, Isabel is startled that she kind of like jerks backwards, trying to get away from the talon that's like approaching her forehead. Probably unsuccessfully, but that is the reaction. So that's what everybody else would see, her gasping and kind of shock.
Do the rest of you respond as Isabel quite suddenly like flings her back in like abject horror from this carcass that she just finished carving?
I think Sylvie would run over. What is it? What is wrong?
And she stammers and mutters, and the words just don't come out. But it's like she's trying to say, there's something in, can you not see it? And she's like pointing at the pool of blood in front of her.
Yeah, Sylvie looks, assuming she still sees nothing, and then looks back to Isabel. I'm sorry, I do not see anything.
Is it still there?
When you look again, you see no reflection other than just your own.
It has been a very long day. Maybe perhaps it is time for a rest.
Isabel looks at you. You can see, like, in that moment, like there's her eyes are wild. Like she's scared. Things just happen. But then as she's looking at you and focusing on your face, you can see her kind of calm down slightly. And she leans into you. Yes, I think that would be best. And then she kind of glances back down into the pool, kind of like a like, is it there? Did I really see that? And I think also there would be like a touch to her forehead where the talon touched the hand.
When you reach up and you touch where you saw this figure reach out and touch you, you can feel your circlet under your skin where it's always been. Well, not always, but for long enough. And as you do so, it doesn't seem to fill you with the same kind of dread that it used to. Something's different. Something seems changed about this device that you bear beneath your skin.
I think at that, just kind of like feeling that Isabel would remove the mask one of the masks that she's always wearing, and And then she'll look to Sylvie and just like, can you see it?
Sylvie looks. Sir, did you say that the thing was gone now?
I took the mask off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just so you know, because you would have seen her without her mask before, you've never seen anything on her forehead. The only time you did is when in that boat ride when it shone.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not shining now. Yeah. Sylvie looks and she concerned as well, just like shakes her head. No, nothing.
Isabel just kind of nods. There's a feeling like she's not sure if that's good news or bad news or or how she feels about it, honestly, that it's still there, but it's not noticeable, but it doesn't feel the same. So she's extremely confused right now, and you could probably see all these emotions passing on her face, Sylvie. But I think with your help, she stands up, and the mask that she had been wearing is just kind of like in her hand, kind of dangling towards the ground. And I think at some point it might even just like drop to the ground and is forgotten.
Yeah, I think Sylvie just like kind of reiterates. It has been a long time. We should all get some rest. And I think if Isabel turns to leave, she is going to try and not covertly, she's not trying to hide it, but she would just pick up the mask that Isabel dropped.
Yeah, I think Isabel would turn and just kind of like almost not quite zombie-like, but that kind of like dazed, like it's over kind of thing, just kind of walk away towards the others, not noticing that you pick it up.
While that was transpiring, was there anything that Guillaume and Lox were up to in the aftermath of this battle?
I actually was wondering, sort of, I can't remember the lay of the land here. Were there other guards around that we weren't fighting in this room?
Definitely within the palace and within the city. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's probably not going to be a lot of time before this place is surrounded or filling up.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that Lox would likely just kind of do like a quick sweep of the, not the perimeter of the palace, but the perimeter of this room, and like check out any windows and stuff and just see if there's any like commotion or movement that I can hear. Like, I want to get us out of here quickly, but I need to know if it's like a we need to move, or like, hey, like we can't take a ton of time.
Yeah, I think you probably see like several like clusters of additional bodyguards, or just like traditional guardsmen that are kind of making their way through like the manicured lawns and gardens that you can kind of see quite a distance away from the palace. So you have some time, but probably not a lot.
Okay. And my other question was for the group. I can't remember, was our plan to teleport out of here once we were done? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know Vera has a method of teleporting back to the Temple of Orion, I think.
Well, wasn't there a way that we could teleport back to the Castillo? Or am I thinking of when we dimension doored?
I don't know.
Oh man,
she
I can't
has
remember.
I know she has an amulet of teleportation.
Yeah.
It does like and it's tuned to the Temple of Orion in Al Hidalgo.
Cool. Okay, cool. I think that's what the plan was then.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we had anything else to do here. We kind of just wanted to get out.
I do think there's one thing that Isabel will do as she's walking away. I think she'll notice, and she'll stop, and then she turns back, goes back to the Doge's body, and she's kind of like rummages somewhere around like around his neck area. He's got like that poofy thing that he always wears, but underneath it, and there's like this necklace, and she grabs and takes it. This is something that he had taken from her as a wedding present, so she just wants it back.
Okay.
Was there anything of note that any of these guards were holding or using in the fight that might be of interest to Lox?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yes,
say
and
that's what Guillaume is going to be doing. Just doing like the quickest pat down of any bodies.
yep.
Well,
Um,
like just a quick check that like, okay, Lox is checking out for escape routes, so I have a second, and I'll just start patting shit down.
Okay. So yes, the guards, in addition to what is like around the room, essentially, the treasure that you will receive for this encounter, as it were, you are going to find a bag that has 12 gemstones in it that are star sapphires. They are translucent blue sapphire with white star-shaped centers. These are worth 1,000 gold pieces each. This is money, money, money. You find 3 art objects. You find a bottle stopper cork embossed with gold leaf and set with amethysts that is worth 750 gold pieces. You find a brass mug with jade inlay that is worth 250. And a gold bird cage with electrum filigree worth 250. In addition, you find another small satchel that has 5 beads inside of it. These are beads of force. The details for those are on page 154 in the DMG if we need to look it up. And then there are 2 items that you also find that I made myself. One is the Doge's ring, if anybody was interested in taking that. And the other is a dagger. So,
When you say the Doge's ring, this is not the ring that we destroyed, right? This is his was it seal ring or whatever, the one that's
his signet ring.
signet.
Is
that,
no,
or is this?
Did y'all destroy the one that he was using during the fight?
No, we destroyed the one that was connected to.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. No, this is a different one. He had a lot of rings. This is the ring that someone saw and noticed. I think it might have been Sylvie, actually, noticed when there was a fireball cast that the ring on his finger kind of glowed for a moment. It seemed to be tied somehow to what he was doing with the shunting his damage onto the various guardsmen that were around the room. So that ring looks like this, and is called the Ring of Oaths. And the dagger that you find, nope, looks like this. As far as interesting things that you find in the room, that is the list.
Once it seems like Isabel has slightly composed herself, Guillaume will approach. Like, I understand this is a big moment for you, and I'm really happy you're having it. I do need to ask you, which direction would his personal study be? I know you're more familiar with the layout of this place. We need to see if there's any information, any connection between him and the Padre or Lavinia.
I know there was that secret room, and that we were kind of by earlier before he came out. Um, I'm thinking if he had any papers, that was probably where he'd take it. So I think she would kind of indicate maybe like back in that hallway where we were working on on restoring the painting, that secret room. We did not yet get it open because we didn't have time for that, but we were there. So otherwise, do I know of a personal study like a normal study that he would have had?
He definitely would. He would have had a place that had, books and, a writing desk, and, it's where he probably would have had a lot of his meetings, for business and otherwise. But you know that he was a very calculated man. Um, so if he had anything that would be incriminating or damning, you feel pretty certain that your hunch is accurate, that he would have kept it hidden.
Yeah, I think I would stammer all of that out to like Guillaume saying like, "Oh, there's this room," but I don't think that's where he'd keep it. And, um, I think our best bet is this other place, the secret one.
You hear, some distance towards the front of the castle. The front doors slam open, and you hear the voices of guards yelling to each other as they begin to make their way towards this grand staircase. As you near this door, how are you going to open it, Isabel?
I don't know. Um, I don't. We have that ring. I'm gonna. Whoever picked it up, I think I just kind of rudely and roughly take it from them, and because I'm panicked at this point because we have to either get out or do this, and I think I would just kind of have it in my hand as if and touch the door, like the area where it would
Right.
be, to see if maybe that's how to activate it because I'm not really thinking too much at this point. That's just her first instinct that it's tied to the ring. It has to be. Everything was kind of thing.
Okay. Roll me an investigation.
Uh, Great. That is a
Mm.
6 because I have nothing on that one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not good at investigating.
Um, you wave this ring kind of frantically all over this mural, tracing any like line or shape, and pulling it close and further away, and nothing is happening. The voices and the footsteps of these guards are growing closer, and you now hear them from further down the wing that you're currently on as well, starting to come from the other direction.
I don't know. I don't know, but it's here. And I think she looks to Locks. Um, like help. Like,
Uh,
I
Locks, I was actually going to say I would like to try and aid you on that check that you just made as you're sort of getting frustrated. Locks kind of comes up beside you and he's got his sword in his hand and it's still, dripping with blood. And he kind of like grabs your face and forces you to look at him and he goes, "I have seen you open locks way harder than this. Just stop, think. You can get the door open. It's just a door."
She takes a breath, refocuses, And a roll of 15.
After this encouragement, this slight, admonition from Lox, you turn and you look at this wall. You study this mural for a moment, and it's almost like you're looking at it for real for the first time. You're really kind of paying attention to what this is, and you realize that it's a depiction of him, of course, of his greatness embellished. Of course, he looks way handsomer, way thinner than he ever has in his entire life. And that's when it hits you that the mechanism, the trigger, has to be something with him. And so you reach up and you realize that his entire head is like a separate piece of the wall. And as you push on it, the wall clicks and slides open along a seam in the mural that was just perfectly hidden. And this stone kind of just freely and effortlessly just kind of swings open.
I think there's a startled look that Isabel gives Lox before I think before she kind of quickly pushes it open and goes in, because we are short of time at this moment. So looking over her shoulder at Lox, kind of nods and heads in.
Fox just says, "See what I tell you," and then I'll help shuttle everybody inside, and then if we can, close it behind us.
Yeah, you absolutely can push on the other side of it, and it kind of causes it to pivot, and there's a satisfying sound of a latch catching as you push it closed. And of course, just in time, we see Boots, come from two different directions and meet up, and they both start talking to each other about, where did they go? But none the wiser.
If possible, I'd love to do an Indiana Jones, grab a candle holder and stick it into the mechanism to keep it from swinging open anymore.
Okay. On the other side of this wall, you find yourself in a hallway that is nowhere near as opulent as the rest of the palace. This is very much a functionary space. And it continues for some way. You're guessing, Isabel, knowing the layout of this castle, that you're kind of between rooms at the moment. It must just be, an extra thick wall, as it were. And it carries on this way for probably a good 100 feet or so before it ends in a doorway. Obviously, this is a doorway that you've never seen before, Isabel. And there is a lock on this door.
Having newfound confidence because of my friend Lox, I will look at this lock and I will I will try to pick it.
All right. Let's get a thieves tool roll. You can use dexterity on this.
So Dex. Oh, I got a nat 20. So it's a total of 28.
Okay. Though you have never seen this particular door before, apparently this is not the only one of the locks in the mansion. You've seen this particular brand, make, model, what have you, of lock that was installed in this door, and you've seen it elsewhere in the palace before. So you kind of kneel down with your thieves tools, and you're like, oh, wait a second, I know exactly what this is. And within seconds, you have it jimmied and are able to open the latch.
I think she just gives you the biggest grin, Lox, as it was it felt very easy for her, and I think that she just needed your your pep talk. So she just biggest grin and opens the door to whatever hell's around.
You open the door, and on the other side, you see a well-appointed office. Not decorated the way the rest of the palace is, but with all of the things that truly interested him. However, the moment that you open the door, a large mouth forms out of the wood of the door, right about head height, and immediately goes, "Intruders! Intruders! They're in the study!" Begins shouting very loudly.
I look frantically at Sylvie, Vera, and Guillaume, like,
I
freaking stop.
Guillaume
We
will try
should-
to get out of the line of sight of this mouth, and will cast disguise self on myself to look like the Doge. And walk in front, and I think I've heard him speak long enough, and I have the actor feat, so I'll just do a perfect imitation of his voice, and just say like, "They're with me."
Okay. Let's see how that works. Okay. Did your voice? Okay. Yeah, the triggering circumstance can be as general or as detailed as you like, though it must be based on visual or audio or audible conditions that occur within 30 feet of the object. So yeah, the fact that it uses sight would tell me that it could be fooled by a disguise. So let's have you roll a performance, and you can have advantage, which
I'm also
the
going
actor team
to-
might do.
I'm going to use
Cool.
my reaction.
Okay.
I can add +5 to that roll, the ability
nice.
check.
Okay, so that'll make it an unnatural 20.
Fantastic. Okay. The mouth immediately stops shouting and kind of phases back into a sheer wooden surface of a door. No longer shouting. You definitely hear voices of the guards at the secret mural door. They definitely seem to be possibly have traced the sound to that location.
I think I'll quickly go inside the study.
Okay. You enter the study.
Yeah.
You close
Yeah.
the door behind you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, once everybody's in, if they all come in. If they
Okay.
don't, then I will. Yeah.
Yep.
And as soon as we're in there, I'm finding a shelf or a desk or something and pulling it against the door.
Okay. So you find yourself in a decently sized room. It's probably on par with some of the at least like the guest rooms and things here in the palace. And like I said, it's very well appointed. Looking around, you can see all kinds of books on how to talk to people, how to get people to trust you, ways to finagle finances, just all kinds of self-taught but very manipulative type self-learning books. It's very obvious that he was aware of the kind of person that he was, and that it was all very carefully crafted. There's a large desk that has, ink, quill, stack of like writing parchment. Trying to think of what else he might actually have in here. There's probably several like glass curio cabinets that are filled with various things. And I think, yeah, actually, Isabel, you see a cabinet that has like a tiered set of brackets, and there are like 3 other prototypes or iterations of your circlet that are like arranged in a row, and the topmost bracket is empty.
I think, yeah, as soon as she sees that, I think her full attention is now fully upon those circlets and in the shelf. And I don't think she moves. Like, she just kind of stands there staring at them, completely fixated on them, ignoring everything else in the room as she's just looking at these things.
Was there anything in specific, Guillaume, that you were looking for in here?
Like correspondence, or I'm looking to see if there's another book like the 2 that we've collected already. But really just anything that seems like letters he's written or is writing or has received. So I'd probably start with like kind of searching whatever seems like his correspondence area first before doing a quick loot of the shelves like we tend to do.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Roll me an investigation.
That's gonna be investigation, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's about 19.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Guillaume, you set to work, kind of rifling through the desk, the stack of papers, and you find a lot of like sensitive information, talking about like bank accounts and money moving from here and there, when certain nobility or dignitaries may be coming or going, what's going on in the court of the king, and that kind of stuff, which you might expect to find, but it's actually kind of in the bottom of one of the drawers where you find like a leather-bound ledger, and it's not like the books that you found before. But as you open this ledger, inside you're seeing like it's numbers, but it's not money, and it's low, like the teens, the 20s, maybe single digits here or there, and there's dates written. And the number slowly kind of like gets a little lower and lower, and then you see zeros written for several of the dates, and then the tracking just seems to stop altogether.
Are there any words around it that might indicate what is being tracked?
Searching elsewhere in the papers, so it's not in the same drawer as this ledger, you end up finding a letter that basically coincides with this ledger. Looking at it a second time, and this letter does not have an addressee. It is not signed. but it basically says, I cannot continue. Supplies are running low. You will have to look elsewhere for your meals.
I'll show that around and just ask. Does anyone know what to make of this?
I mean, I've got one idea what those numbers might mean.
I do too, but I feel like I need to hear someone else say it out loud. Okay, on three. 1, 2, 3. It's people, right?
People.
Oh, good. Yes,
Okay,
good.
right.
Huh. Oh, I was feeling crazy. Is Isabel. It's gonna get weird. It's still. I'm getting used to calling you that. Kim Isabel. Uh, do you ever see him? You know, eat people or like drink people?
I think it takes a bit before Isabel's actually really realizing that you're talking to her. You can see like she's just um somewhere else at this moment, staring at these other circlets. And she's like, who? What? The what are you talking about, Guillaume?
I don't know. The body didn't do any of the vampire stuff, though. He seemed like just a normal body, right? I don't know. You were the closest. You were doing some stuff. He looked normal, right? I mean, gross, but normal.
I don't think he was a vampire, but that doesn't mean he wasn't working for vampires.
I mean, we already know he kind of was, right? He was the Padres. I don't know what you'd call him. Right hand man. I don't know.
Lapdog.
Lapdog. I like that.
Uh, kind of maybe a weird question about the numbers. When they go down, are they going down by a lot at a time, or is it like one or two here and there? Like how quickly does it go down once it
Yeah,
starts?
so it seems to go down fairly slow at first. It's kind of like, down and up anyways throughout the tracking.
Mm,
But then it seems to like start just a downward trend that does not recover. And then after a certain point, then it just drops drastically before it hits
mm.
the zeros.
How how long ago did it start dropping drastically?
Probably within the last 6 to 9 months.
Okay. Hmm.
Also, in the ledger where the numbers are going down, is it the same writing as the writing on the letter? That kind of
It is, which you recognize both to be Sobrano's handwriting.
okay.
Or sorry, no, Sombrania is his last name. The Doge.
We'll just call him asshole.
That works.
We can call him dead asshole.
That works even better. um so he wrote the letter.
So he was the supplier, not the hungry boy. That makes more sense to me.
And he was supplying probably the Padres castle up there. And his wife's. Maybe.
Could explain a little bit more about why this town sucks so hard.
But what was the last line of the note again? The letter. Whenabouts did the wine start really flowing into Aladalgo?
So Borjido Olavida has been popular in Aladalgo for decades.
Okay. But okay, so we started seeing like weird things kind of happening in the town, like in Aladalgo. Did we not like
Yes, especially
how
as of Mardival.
yeah. And how long ago is Mardival? Because it feels like it's
At
been forever ago.
yeah, at this point, Mardival. So Mardival is a week-long celebration. It's been over now for probably 2 or 3 days.
Oh, okay, so it just happened.
Yes, it just
Okay.
finished
But the
because you were
numbers
there for
started
the beginning of it.
yeah, okay. So the numbers started dropping about 6 to 9 months ago. But we just recently found out about the wine being tainted. When did the guy die? The original guy. There was not
At the beginning of the campaign.
yeah, there was not the person that died in well, unless that was not the person that died in Sylvie's shop, but the the father. Didn't he die before that?
The
Sorry.
father of. You
Mm.
talking about like the silver merchant? Turin Agniace, I think is his
The
name.
yeah, I guess I would. Actually, the king of Gerdes, because it
Oh, the
says
king
he
of
died.
Gerdes.
When did he die? Not
um,
not the new one, but the
yeah, because the new one is young. He's like 16, so he's
yeah.
like a kid. His father passed probably a year or two ago at this
Okay,
point, so it's been a little while.
been a while. And the silver merchant just passed at the start of the campaign, so like a few weeks ago.
Yes, probably at this point, maybe a month or two.
Okay.
Think we should grab these things, throw down an alchemist fire, and bounce.
Let's douse the place in oil first, then drop the alchemist fire.
Okay.
Unless you want me to fireball. I mean, I could if that would be. Just saying, it's on the table.
I think Sylvie wants to take one last look around before we ignite everything.
Is there
Are there
anything
any
in
nice
particular that
fabrics?
Sylvia's looking for? Not really
Are
nice
there any-
fabric? Okay. Yeah. Roll me an investigation. Let's see how good of a fabric he's got
She is
lying
also
around.
just doing a 15.
Okay.
She's also just doing like a cursory glance just to see if there's any. I don't know if she's looking for anything necessarily, but something that maybe catches her eye.
Okay.
Isabel does also want to grab those other 3 circlets before we
Okay.
torch the
Excellent.
place.
So you snatch those real quick. Sylvie, I think you find a rather large, and I mean like king size comforter sized, like a blanket, like draped over the back of a really kind of like cushiony chair that's next to a fireplace. You could definitely see that, he would have probably used this to cover himself while he sat by the fire. But it's, like I said, it's enormous. And it is made out of a kind of fabric that you're probably not, that isn't very common in Gerdes. We'll say it's actually Prilaric wool. The Prilaric peoples are like a steppe culture that ride horses, and they are herders and shepherds. So it's a really, really fine woolen blanket, essentially.
Yeah, she would take that just with a. He was an asshole, but I mean, fabric is fabric. May it well, yes, it shouldn't be put to waste. No.
Okay. Then you douse his office with a couple of vials of lamp oil and drop an alchemist fire as Vera uses her amulet to vamp you out of there. And in an instant, you zip your way across the kingdom to wind up back in Aladalgo, in the Temple of Orion. Before we get too much further, I want to touch on the ring and the dagger, just so that if anybody wants to end up with those things, we can go ahead and settle that before we move on. Isabel, what your circlet does. Do you want to know what that does now, or do you want to wait to discover that later?
But let's wait to discover.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll sit on that for now. Okay, the dagger's the one that I have the picture up for, so we'll bounce back over there real quick. This is called the Edge of Night. An obsidian dagger may seem like an impractical weapon. However, it shows no damage besides the obvious signs of its use. The blade is as sharp as a razor, and the spine is etched with spirals that emit barely visible tendrils of shadowy smoke. The weapon's handle is carved with intertwined figures, but it is difficult to tell whether they are in the throes of ecstasy or agony. This dagger grants a +2 to attack and damage rolls made with this weapon. Additionally, if the wielder deals damage with a sneak attack using this weapon, they may immediately make a second attack with this dagger as a part of that same action. If this second attack hits, the wielder may add their sneak attack damage to that attack. Once this ability is used, it cannot be used again until the wielder completes a short rest.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Karen. Well, yeah. It wasn't necessarily made exactly for you, but I think you're the only one that has sneak attack, so
Yeah, it's mine.
as it turns out. While we are talking about items that you have, we will talk about these. Oh no, we're not talking about the circlet. Shush, Jeremy. The ring, then. The ring of oaths. Da-da-da. Okay. This decidedly Boclan ring is comprised of a black marble band trimmed in gold. Set in its center is a brilliant ruby hemisphere, encircled by a loop and concentric ovals of golden ropes. When you touch this ring, you hear faint echoes of voices swearing vows of protection. This ring requires attunement. Once attuned, any creature may swear a vow to protect the wearer and kiss the ring. This creates a permanent, mystic connection between them and the wearer, as if targets of a warding bond spell, with the changes listed below. The ring may maintain a number of such connections equal to the wearer's proficiency bonus at a time. If a new connection is established, the creature who made the oldest vow is disconnected from the ring. When the wearer of this ring dies, all creatures who made vows are disconnected. Here are the changes to the warding bond spell. The connection of the spell is only active with the creature who made the oldest vow. If that creature dies, the ring immediately establishes its connection to the next avowed creature. And while the avowed creature is within 60 feet of the wearer is immune to all damage. When the wearer would take damage, the avowed creature takes that damage instead.
Damn, that's nasty. I think whoever I rudely took it from, once we got into this room, Isabel would have given it back to whoever that was. So um she don't want it.
Yeah, it's not necessarily something that we would use. At least I can't think of a use for it immediately, but it's definitely like a powerful magic item that we might be able to, barter with or give to somebody else.
Hmm. Again, he was a very wealthy, very powerful, but very paranoid individual, and he spent no small expense trying to cover his ass, literally. But yeah, it's not exactly a nice guy kind of magic item. Okay. So we are now back in Aladalco. You are in the Temple of Orion, who is the god of the stars and skies. I don't think I have a picture for that. More's the pity. Yes, I will give the description so that you can have it in total, Karen. Even from within the temple, you can hear the familiar bustling sounds of the city of canals outside. You can hear the singing of the gondoliers again, the various merchants that are hawking their wares at their stalls here and there. It's instantly recognizable as Aladalco. For some of you, home. What are you doing as you have kind of found yourself torn away from the place that you were and suddenly back here again?
I think we need to go somewhere to like lay low for a beat or two and kind of get our bearings on what to do next. At least that's what Sylvie's thinking, looking at Isabel as well.
Could we check in with the Contessa while we're at it? That might be a
Yeah,
safe
that's
place
what I
to
was
be.
gonna say.
Yeah, I'd like to as well. Yeah.
We could swing by the Saint if the opportunity arises, but I don't really have anything I need to talk to him about. Not talk anyway.
I mean, we definitely do need to check in on him at some point because we have to let him know where his people are and get word to them that we are back in the city.
Oh yeah, that's a good excuse. I mean, yes, I agree.
I think Isabel just winks at you at that.
So the first stop is the Condesa?
I think so.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody roll perception checks for me, please.
My dice are hot tonight. That is a nat 20 for a total of 30.
Damn, another one. Holy shit. Okay, so everybody except for Lox. You notice as you leave the Temple of Orion and begin kind of heading your way towards the upper end of town, if you will, where you know the Condessa's whatever palace is located. You start to realize that the town is, there's nowhere near as many people here as there should be. Like with Mardival only having ended a couple of days ago, like there's still a lot of cleanup that hasn't happened. Like there's, refuse and, signs of like the extreme partying that happens during Mardival that is still kind of everywhere. There's not a lot of people that are cleaning it up. There's few, but not as many as there really should be. And there's not a lot of other people really kind of out and about.
I think I would kind of whisper those words to like Locks and Sylvie and Guillaume and Vera, let them know like how quiet it is here. Mhm.
Yeah, I think on noticing all of this, Gilm will turn to the were rats that have come back with us, and say, I think it would be good if you perhaps checked in with the saint. Let him know that we'll be at the Condessa's, and he should meet us there if he has the opportunity. I think we should all have a chat together, swap information, as it were, and see what he knows. Let him know what we've discovered. But I would keep your
Absolutely.
head down. It seems a bit strange around here now.
Who's the were at you were hitting it off with? What was her name?
Sucked.
Too many fucking NPCs. Who did this?
Oh, this is not.
I literally cannot find her.
Here we go. Valis.
That's why.
Yes, Valis. I
That
think
would come at the
that
end.
was the one that I was
Yes, that's right.
with.
Yeah. So she is the one who will absolutely kind of like take this message to heart as you get delivering it. And she will promise to find the Saint of Rats and let him know what is going on. And then she kind of like, as they turn to leave, she'll kind of stop and she turns. I will see you later.
I certainly hope so.
Then
I'll give her a smile and a wink.
stay safe. And she kind of like
You as
squeezes
well.
your upper arm.
I think. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I wanted to roll to see if what his willpower was like in this moment, and I think he's just going to very like cheesily like do a grab her and do like dip her into a kiss.
Fantastic, absolutely. And
Like
it's
just
just
in
as
a
like somebody in a window above like tosses out like a bunch of like dried decorations, like dried flowers. So like all these like dried flower petals like rain down all around you.
yeah, he'll like just do a quick little casting of like prestidigitation and like this little flutter of music.
She kind of stands up, kind of light on her feet. Oh, well, you will definitely be seeing me later then.
You know where I'll be.
She smiles and then she turns to run to catch up with the rest of the were-rats.
He'll just kind of turn like, she's nice.
You continue on towards the Condessa's estate, and with the same rolls that you made, Sylvie and Isabel, both of you notice something additional. You see a lot of signs on like the taverns and local drinking houses that are saying, sold out. We don't have Borjido Olavida. And some of them have like scratches on their doors, like burn marks on the outside of the doors. Some of the windows are like boarded up from the inside. It's a little odd.
Yeah, Sylvie's going to pause, and it seems as though they might have caught on that the Borjido wine was not what it seemed.
Or our fire actually helped
This quickly?
Mhm.
You'd think they would have reserves, no?
Don't know, but it also looks like, and we'll point to one of like the burnt, scratched doors. There may be a bigger problem if the supply is out.
Can Sylvie just take a closer look at these scratches?
Yeah, absolutely. Investigation or maybe nature?
Both are the same.
Okay.
So, oh, that's a 6. I rolled a 1.
6? Okay.
Yeah.
You're not sure. There's a variety of different kinds of scratches, and it definitely looks like somebody was trying to like gain entry. But you're not really sure with what.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's any kind of like purposeful scratches.
No, it's not like marking this building or anything.
Yeah.
It's like somebody was trying to like break in the door.
Like kind of like potentially like a mob, except that of 1 or 2 angry
Potentially.
people.
Out of the people that Sylvie is seeing walking around, how do they look?
They look okay. Like they look fine, except maybe concerned, harried a little. They kind of like look at you as, well armed and equipped as your group is. And they don't seem to smile the same as a lot of people in Aladalgo do. They definitely kind of seem to give you a little bit of a wide berth, like you're, obviously on business. But they don't seem like the people in Manchalona. If that's
Yeah,
that's what
Sylvie. That's what I was going to ask next. Is do they have any of that similarity?
There are like people walking, or like a couple people walking around, though.
Yeah, there's still, I mean, hundreds of people here. It's just
Okay.
not as filled with people as it normally is, especially given that Martival has just finished.
All right, I just want to grab just kind of stop by the most like amenable looking person. Whoever looks the friendliest, just has like nice face. I want to just go, I'm so sorry to bother you. I've been out of town for a few days now.
Oh.
Is something going on? It seems strange, the town.
Oh, you have not heard of the fevers?
Fevers, no. Is there a sickness here? I just traveled back in this morning.
Oh, you may want to return from where you came. It seems as though some form of sickness came along with Martival. There's many people who have been bedridden, at least during the daytime. It seems as though the nighttime air is good for their countenance. So there are still plenty of parties at night, but I would not suggest going to them. I have avoided them myself.
I would continue to do that. That's a good policy. I would make sure to share that with the rest of your friends, that they should also avoid these places, just out of an abundance of caution. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to disturb you.
You don't happen to have any Borjido Olavida? You look like a man of means.
I was at a time, but unfortunately, no, I never touched the stuff. I heard that they had a rat problem at that winery, a lot of droppings making their way into the wine. Apparently, that's part of where the flavor comes from. It's disgusting, but
He holds like a handkerchief up against his mouth. Oh, that's disgusting.
I wouldn't drink any of that either if I were you.
I do not think that I will anymore. Thank you.
Yes, share that information as well with all of your friends.
Good day.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you. Good day. Yeah, I'll just anyone that was not close enough to hear that, I'll just relay back.
But the Anscari Olvida is really good.
Isabel, maybe we shouldn't confuse the issue right now. I don't want someone never mind. Do as they will.
Okay. You press on towards the Condessa's estate. However, things do not seem to get any better as you do. As you approach, there is a large sign that has been hung on the outside of the exterior doors that say that the estate, the Gabansera is her name. The Gabansera estate has been seized by the Justicaros. There is also a large amount of like prepared flowers and candles that have been placed near the front gates, kind of in an array, like in a pile.
Like in a Whoa.
Sorry.
Like in a memorial style pile?
Yes. Yeah, like a remembrance kind of thing.
We showed our hand too openly. He must have known that we were working with her. Fuck. Is it
She's gone?
that's my assumption from the flowers and everything, but I
Or he's taken her and is just trying to make it look like she's gone.
Your characters would probably recall that before you left Aledalgo, that her phylactery went missing
Oh, that's right.
as well, just as a...
yeah, we sort of screwed up on this one, guys. We probably should have helped her get that phylactery back. She was an invaluable resource and also seemed like a nice lady. Does it look like the Justicaros are like currently at the house?
Yes. As a matter of fact, if you kind of like look through the, the bars of one of the windows or something, it actually looks like they are currently bringing a lot of the furniture and features of the home like out of the castle. It looks like they are inventorying.
So where do we go? We got to regroup to the Saint.
That seems the safest place.
Yeah.
Move underground.
I can't believe that they would kill her. I think she's still alive, but I don't know where they would hold her.
Yeah, we don't know where the Padre runs his thing in this place. They have a long history, those two.
The Saint might know more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it sounds like the next stop is the Court of the Forsaken, where the Saint of Rats calls home. Okay. So you make your way back towards that area of town. You hire a gondolier who is, a part of the network, who rows up to the florist's window, singing a song to her, and she comes to the window, joins the song in duet, and as she does so, she spreads her hands apart, and the veil of roses parts and opens and allows you into the underground labyrinth of the Court of the Forsaken. Before long, you make your way back to the tavern that is down in the kind of commonplace, and the Saint of Rats will rejoin you. What is his name? Armand. Something. Armand! Santa Canalla de los Canales. Alright. He kind of comes out from his office and looks kind of surprised to see all of you, and he crosses over to you. What are you doing here?
Have the others that we sent back here made it?
Yes, but you are in a lot of trouble. I did not think that you would return to Avedalgo so soon.
Well, it's starting to seem like maybe we shouldn't have. But what the hell is going on? The Condessa's been taken, killed. Do you know?
You know nothing that has transpired?
We've been busy and pretty far away. We killed some people that needed killing. We thought we were killing someone who really needed killing, but we were just killing maybe a copy of them. It's been confusing. We think that, well, I think that we may have tipped our hand a little, and I think the Padre knows that we're on to him.
He knows more than you may think. You should have a seat, please. And he kind of indicates like an empty booth, and he calls over for drinks, and the first bottle that's grabbed, he kind of shakes away. No, please, the strong stuff.
Oh, I'm not liking where any of this conversation is going. We're sitting down and we're drinking heavily.
Once you take a seat, he kind of like, puts a glass in front of each one of you and pours a round of drinks, one for himself as well. And he kind of sets the bottle in the middle of the table and kind of like rubs his forehead for a second. Where to start? Well, Mardival began somewhat as may be expected, except for the blessings that were conducted at the beginning. Something was strange, something was different. Many people were hurt by the blessings. When the blessing of Loros came, the god of weather, the rains that fell seemed to burn a lot of the people. It seemed not to be a good omen. And then, whenever the blessing of Pelor, the god of sun, came around, many had to flee, as if the sun was burning them. And then things really began to take a strange turn. The Condessa was exposed to be the undead that she was. And she was executed. It was a very public affair. each one of you, I am afraid, is going to find that things have changed much for you here in the city. I cannot confirm that the Padre was behind all of these things, but I have my suspicions. Which is the bad news that you want to hear first?
Well, I think Isabel, you've been pretty primed for bad news. I don't know, is there anything to do with her? She's kind of had a up and down sort of week, so this would probably follow in the pattern.
Does he? I don't know that he recognizes you at all.
Oh, right,
No.
right. Yes. No, that's funny. I was just realizing that after I was like, oh,
Actually, yeah.
Isabel, are we talking about that openly, or should I introduce you like new? He's asking, and this is Guillaume asking this openly. Just like,
I mean, it's kind of late now, isn't it, Guillaume?
well, not necessarily. I mean, we could just say her business is her own, but well, it doesn't matter. This was Chimeran.
I see. He kind of looks as if like looking at you again. Yes,
Yeah.
I can see
Yeah,
that.
And this time there's no mask, so
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you again, Isabel.
The pleasure is all mine.
I know. I really assumed that she was going to just be like, or Chimeran, whichever one of them it was. I assumed they were just really ugly under that mask. Aren't you surprised? She looks nice.
I would have to agree.
Like, why else would you wear a mask all the time? I mean, that's something that ugly people do, right? Anyway, you had a good reason. I'm sorry. I get a little rattled whenever things are high stakes. So just give us whatever bad news seems, I don't know, start with the worst and work your way backwards. Or you could lead up to it. It could be a build up. It's really up to you. I don't know what kind of storyteller you are.
Well,
Start.
yes.
If you don't mind. There was a man that was with the Condessa. What happened to all of her people and guests?
They were turned away whenever her estate was seized. I am not sure what happened to any of them. I have not kept tabs.
But they weren't rounded up and executed along with her. Just
No, it was only the Gerdessi.
I think you can see that Isabel kind of visibly relaxes after hearing that. Well, at least that's a little bit of the good news. So I guess what's the bad news?
Well, since it is you that has asked, Chimeran, I am sorry to say that a mysterious fire broke out near the end of Mardival. Your estate has been gutted. This is a crime that, unfortunately and unfairly, I believe, has been blamed on Bolso and his friends. He looks at you, Lox. You know Bolso is the leader of the network of urchins that you have employed before. He turns back to Isabel. Nothing remains.
Was there anyone hurt?
There were some who died in the blaze, I am afraid, yes. Speaking of Bolso, he kind of looks back to you now, Lox. Because of his association with this crime, he and several of your trusted compatriots have been locked in crow cages. They are hanging from the steeple of the Temple of Evermore for thievery and arson. They will be left there until they starve to death, unless we do something. In addition, as I am sure you are aware, the LaCroix family residence was gifted to the right-hand man of the Padre Primero, who has decided that he is going to officially move into the grounds, and he has started to excavate the crypts below to make room for his own dynasty.
He's taken the Pluma estate then?
Yes. And I believe he intends to remove the remains of your family. To do what with them, I cannot say. It does not end there, I am afraid. Sylvie, the savoir-faire boutique has been condemned and forcibly shuttered due to a reported infestation of, he kind of laughs, rats.
Sylvie nods. You can see like she's trying to look right, but you can see that is she's gutted at that.
Guillaume,
I think Isabel
sorry, go
would.
ahead.
Sorry, I think Isabel would have kind of put an arm around Sylvie at that news, trying to give her what comfort she can at this point.
Guillaume, your father has been arrested on charges of conspiracy to murder and has been whisked away to some remote dungeon. We are trying to establish where, but we have not found out where yet.
For whose murder?
The murders that they were trying to pin on you. It apparently was leaked that he had harbored you for some time, and the Justicaros used this as an excuse to arrest him because they could not find you.
Well, the old man was a soldier. He knows how to live on little for as long as he can. So I think obviously the children are probably the priority, but thank you for letting me know. I kind of think we need to go kill that Justicaro dick. I'm not comfortable with him squatting on Lox's family estate. I don't know. Maybe I'm just feeling aggressive because they've fucked everything up.
The last bit of bad news that I have is for you, Vera. And I'll look towards Vera. The Madame of the Castillo, Madame Leonilda Bertani, has returned from her travels afar, apparently for good, and has resumed her position at the Castillo de Fugida. Furthermore, she is making it very public that she has fired you for lacking in your duties by spending too much time away from your duties. As I said, I have not found concrete proof, but my suspicions are that the Padre knows exactly who all of you are. He
Is
pours a
that it?
second round of drinks. Yes, I believe that is it.
Locks kind of like wordlessly stands, maybe slamming his fists a little too hard on the table to stand up. I need to go get those kids down.
Guillaume will stand as well, say, well, I guess if that's what we're doing.
I think that is most important.
I definitely will come with you. And as Isabella's saying this, she's digging in, kind of her pack, and is pulling out a mask, a different mask. This one's red, and is tying it around her face. I thought I was done with these, but she ties it around her face, and in the moment as she's tying it around, you can see, those of you who hadn't seen it before, you can see how her demeanor changes, and where once was Isabel, we now have Chimeran.
Okay, I'll have to change the overlay back.
I know. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be. I still have the old one saved. I just don't have it in OBS right now. Okay. So the plan to get Bolso and the other urchins down from the crow cages. Are you heading there directly right now, like in the middle of the day? Is there a plan?
I think Locks is pretty dead set on just going now. I don't think that he can really stand idly by while he knows that these kids are uh, up in cages, and likely because of their association with him. Um, and so he would be going pretty much immediately. If the saint offers help or offers advice, like he'll take it, but otherwise he's gonna go.
I also think it's better than going at night. Probably want to start doing things during the day as much as possible.
Also
We-
true.
Would we have knowledge of the place that was described and like where the crow cages are, or like would be hung from?
Yeah, they are literally hung from the steeple of the Temple of Evandel. That is where the Justicaros are based out of. Evandel is the god that the Justicaros serve, quote unquote.
Do you know how about how high up would the crow cages be?
Decent, like probably 90, 100 feet.
Okay, that is actually what I wanted to hear. Guillaume will turn to everyone and say, okay, I do have a plan to get them out. Did he say how many there were?
I imagine that there are Bolso plus 3 others, so probably 4 in total.
Okay. I do have a plan then. Um, I don't suppose any of you know how to cast invisibility. That would make this a lot easier, but it'll be possible either way. Okay.
I mean,
If
I
you want to
can-
get up there, Sylvie has a bird. If you need to get there.
That might help. If not, the other thing I could do is I think I can hold on to a spell while I'm in rat form, and I could just become a flying rat. Might look a little strange, but it might be harder to notice. Fuck
Me
it,
for
let's try that.
yeah.
Um, okay, so I'll lay out what my plan is. My plan is to because we leveled up to 11 last time, right? Do we
I
have immediate
believe so.
access to that spell slot if we gained any?
Yes, yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
So what I want to do is I want to cast fly on myself, shift to rat form, basically like fly right up the side of the building, get within 30 feet of the crow cages, and cast scatter to set all of the I forget what we're calling them. We had the urchins, I guess, but we had a name at some point, I think. To set all the urchins down on the ground as out of sight, or like as far away as I can.
Okay, what is scatter?
Scatter is the air quivers around up to 5 creatures of your choice that you can see within range, 30 feet. An unwilling creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. To resist this spell, you teleport each affected target to an unoccupied space that you can see within 120 feet of you. Must be on the ground or on a floor.
Interesting. I've never heard of that spell. That's fantastic.
It's a
Okay.
Xanathar's Guide spell.
Hell yeah. All right, so yeah, yeah. What does this look like, Guillaume?
I think like we all kind of get as close as seems safe without being in view of the actual like any windows in this place. And then I will go ahead and cast my magic on myself to cast fly. Because that is concentration. And then I will shift down into my rat form while holding the power of the spell, basically like running from little hiding spot to hiding spot, bolting across the street and the square in front of this place, until I get basically to the side of the building, and then I'm just going to like zoom up the side of the building. I might even stay close enough that I can kind of look like, if anyone does look, it'll just look like I'm like a rat climbing. But I'm just going in as fast as I can to get as close as I can to the kids. And then I need to find some sort of like outcropping that I can land on. So I'll like, kind of crawl over a crenellation on like one of these roof areas, kind of dip back so I'm as hidden as I can against the roofing, shift back into my human form, cast the spell, and I might actually, I think are there like windows near me or as I get close to the crow
Definitely.
cages?
Yeah,
Okay.
like some kind of like bell tower, type, openings.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna give like a little like kind of sound to try to draw the attention of the kids so that they know not to like try to fight this just in case. And kind of like give them a little wink and like look down at the ground, and then start casting the spell. And I think that this is like it's like these little like wisps that almost don't look like anything, but almost look like heat waves, little balls of heat wave, just traveling out and starting to like whip around each of these kids, these urchins in their cages. And then just like there you can see like almost like little wisps of wind being like pulled down through the bars, as they like teleport down to basically I'm gonna put them like behind cover from the building, as much as possible, as close as I can to my companions, who I probably instructed like just start moving with them, get them out of here, get them to like the saint probably. Um, and then I'll shift back to rat form and kind of do the whole thing in reverse, just scatter back until I can try to catch up.
Okay. Yeah, the kids kind of appear on the street in this kind of designated spot that Guillaume has chosen, and immediately they're kind of like looking around and they'll take off. trying to get as far away from this place as possible, as quick as possible. Well done, man. Take a point of inspiration. That was a great, like, spell to have in the chamber.
I really agonized over which 6th level spells to take, and I'm really glad I picked that one now. That it became immediately useful.
No, that's amazing. That's a really cool spell. I can't believe I've never heard of that.
Yeah, there's some
Okay.
good shit in the newer books.
Mm-hmm.
Locks will be there to like get the kids to safety and get them down to the Saint, and he'll like grab Balso and kind of like lean down to him. Are you okay?
He says, yes, I am now. You came back just in time. I thought for sure that we were all going to starve in those cages.
No, you're with me. I got you. I'm not going anywhere. Come on, let's get you someplace safe.
Okay. And they will definitely flee with you. Well done, everybody. Okay. So Balso and the boys have been rescued. And the Justicaros seem, at least for the moment, to be none the wiser. So you seem to have made a clean getaway for the time being. What's next?
Locks will also sort of have a moment with Guillaume, where we've gotten the kids to safety, and Locks kind of like grabs his shoulder and kind of grips it hard and just like gives him a nod. Thank you.
You made a promise to those kids. I intend to help everyone in this group honor any promises that need to be honored.
Whatever you need to do, I've got your back.
I think we need to kill a whole lot of this city's ranking government. But we
I
should
would like
probably
that.
also save my father. But again, that can be a little bit back burner. I think we can probably do all the murder first. Maybe we should save him first in case we fail at the murder and die horribly. We'll discuss
I think
it.
Anyone who is in prison because of us, we need to get out.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I think part of me just wants him to sit there a little longer, you know? It's been a rough go. But anyway.
So what is the next stop on the Al Hidalgo tour?
I think I probably would have asked when we were with the Saint, when my father was arrested, what became of our home?
As far as I know, it's empty.
Well, I don't know if they would expect us to go there, but if we need a place to sleep and lie low for a little while, if it's empty, it might be an okay spot. Or it might be a terrible idea. They might be watching it. Maybe back to the Saint to sleep. I'll stop talking.
Though I do worry how much we are visiting the Saint. He has been so kind to us, and we are putting him at a great amount of danger since we have such large targets on our back. I worry that his generosity may only last so long, understandably so.
He's doing us a huge favor, but we'll get him back, and he knows that.
I mean, we could, if we want to be incredibly safe, we do know of that area where we went when we were originally stalking the man the saint wanted us to kill is probably pretty abandoned. There were some rats, but we're pretty much on good terms with all the rats that can talk. At this point, I think we've eliminated all the bad ones. So if we want, we could try making camp there. It's a little bit dingier than any of us are used to.
Speak for yourself.
A bit dingier than most of us are used to.
Alternatively, I will add that, Sylvie, you are probably aware of at least one other organization that has a presence in Aladalgo somewhere. But there is another spy network at work somewhere in the city that probably does not have any ties to the Padre.
Is it because they're not in El Hidalgo, or they're not from?
Correct.
Perhaps.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think Sylvie would. Yeah, Sylvie would pipe up. I think after a long pause, if no one's jumping down at the idea of going and sleeping there, I might know somewhere else that we can go that could keep us safe and has no ties to the Padre. But I mean, it can't put a larger target on our back than we already have, and they could be useful, similar to the saint, we'll say.
I mean, who?
You have rat family too?
Well, rat can have so many different meanings. Let me see if I can get in contact with them. And if there are even any left here, they might have all left. But let me see if I can get in contact with them. I trust them, and so if you trust me,
Of course.
I can get. Let me see what I can find.
Okay. Sylvie, how are you going about trying to get in touch with this network?
I imagine that there's a form of she would go to a public spot, as public as she can, and with a small piece of chalk, she would write a word, in Vicaril, the language that they speak there. And it would just be a single word. I imagine it would probably be something like C, something very innocuous, and she would just write it in chalk on the side of maybe like a column or something. I imagine it's like this square that she's at, and she would write it kind of on that pillar. And then she would leave, and she would wait for a few hours. And then she would come back.
Okay. I think whenever you come back, you find the word that you had written in chalk has been erased, and that in the same language, there is the name of a tavern elsewhere in Aladalgo, and nothing more. We'll call it the um, the Lover's Balcony.
Great. Yep. So then I think as soon as she sees that, she'll come back to the rest of the group and, all right, they are still here in Aladogel. They are, one of them will meet us at the Lover's Balcony.
No, I trust you, Sylvie, and I trust we're not walking into some kind of trap or something, but I do like to know who I'm meeting with before I meet with them.
That is fair. They are not from Aladalgo. They are from Vicoril, a band of informants. They're more politically based than, say, the Saint of Rats. Sharing information, gathering information on Aligaldo to bring it back to Vicoril.
And they'll help us.
They will.
How overjoyed they'll be when they hear that we want to, kill the de facto leader of the city. That's got to be great for. You're describing an intelligence community. I'm assuming it sounds like spies, political spies.
She nods.
Well, that seems like it'd be right up their alley.
And you know these spies. How exactly?
My father was one. She says, like, very quickly and very, like, almost like she's forcing the breath out of her mouth when she says that, as if it's something that she has not said to anyone else.
And Locke's understanding the weight of such a thing better than most just gives Sylvia a nod, says, understood, let's go.
Yeah, and I think Chimeran is also understanding like the tension because Sylvie does not talk about her family, her past at all. So just even saying this, totally get what's happening here. So I think he would just offer his arm, his elbow out, and it's like, well, to the Lover's Balcony.
You see Sylvie nod, like, she looks like she's, like, confident, but you can see Chimeran, as soon as you hold her arm, she's shaking. You can tell.
Yeah, and I think he kind of just drapes your arm like through his to kind of give you that support without looking like he's holding you up, if you will, like and you can stroll down the street together as a couple, if you will, for everybody else's eyes.
Okay. As you make your way towards the Lover's Balcony, I think this is a place where we're going to take a break. So we're going to take a 10-minute break, go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, kiss them if you got them. Yeah, that too. Smoke your spouse, all the good stuff. We'll be right back after 10 minutes, and we'll finish up the second part of session 35 of Evermore le Masquerade. everyone. Welcome back from our break. Once again, this is Evermore le Masquerade, an ongoing D&D 5th edition campaign. This is session 35, A Crown Unburdened. We rejoin the party back in their hometown, of Aladalgo, where everything seems to have been turned topsy-turvy. A lot of the allies, the resources that they had counted on previously have been jeopardized. May or may not be directly because of their connection. It seems as though the Padre Primero, possibly, allegedly, may have also been enacting plans while they were away, causing havoc in his castle. So, as we have discovered this, and our heroes have begun undoing some of these nefarious plots, they have rescued Bolso and some of the other urchins who had been falsely accused of starting a fire. And the consensus is that now the group needs to try to find some place to lay low. And having felt like the Saint of Rats has been a resource tapped too frequently recently, they have decided to go a different direction. And Sylvie has brought up a network of Vicarian spies that she apparently knows about, may have some connection to, and you now make your way to a tavern known as the Lover's Balcony to meet with a representative of this organization. Is there anything that you're saying or doing on your way to this meeting before you get there?
I think Sylvie... I think Sylvie's nervous, and I think when she gets nervous, she starts talking. And so she's... So there may be a lot of... I don't know who this person is going to be, but we do want to end up talking with someone who knew my father. So if it is someone who maybe does not know, it is going to be we're going to have to try and push to talk to someone from years ago who was here. They probably won't be too happy at first that I am using the old markings to call on them, but they know that it is an emergency.
If we need to push them, we can always offer all the information we just lifted from the Doge's place.
I think that would be very useful to them. We definitely have a lot of leverage, a lot of things that they would want to know. Certainly.
We'll let you do the talking, but we've got your back.
She nods.
I think at one point, maybe at this point, Chimeran kind of leans in towards you and just kind of like whispers to you, "Are you going to be okay?"
She nods after like a beat or like a second, and it will bring up a lot of old memories. Some of the people in this organization are not too happy with me, but they will help me because of my father.
I will be right by your side.
Yeah. And so then I assume by this point, if they are up, walking up, Sylvie takes a deep breath and pushes in.
Okay. You walk into the lover's balcony. Each one of you, if you would, what is something that catches your attention about this place as you enter?
I don't think it's would be apparent to most people who would come in here, you know, like strangers off the street just coming on in. But because we're kind of looking for it and we know it, you can see that this particular tavern, there's something that's there's areas that aren't quite, I want to say, like right, that seem more staged than natural, as if it's trying to pass itself off as a place where lovers can come and have their trysts and stuff, when reality is that's just a facade. And I think Chimeran can pick this up, simply because we know what we're getting into. And he's noticing the little things that are just not quite right, like that woman in the corner with the man. Their acting is great and good, but he can tell it's acting, that they're not actually, you know, a couple together in the corner, that they're watching and things like that.
This feels incredibly stupid, and maybe it is. So feel free to veto this. But I'm thinking, for some reason, when you said the name of the place, I immediately imagined that like there are no like normal chairs in this place. They're all like 2-seat love seats, which like may sound like a good idea, but like actually would make for weird like dating areas, and like it doesn't like, kind of going along with that, just feeling off. But yeah, it's just filled with like little love seats, and like, so but sometimes there's like two of them on either side of like a table, so it's especially confused with how this is. Like, is it double dating? What's, do you each take one? Just hard to tell.
Uh, the story goes that the lovers like plummeted to their death from this balcony, and no one goes on the balcony anymore. It's like it's almost this sort of cartoonishly, like there's no way to really get to it. It's just on the outside of this building, but it's been sort of sealed away. So it's just this sort of ornamental balcony up on the top. And kids like to scare each other here in this area of town and say that the balcony is haunted. And sometimes if you look up there at a certain time of day and the light is just right, there's a shadow that gets cast on the wall that looks like a couple embracing on the balcony.
I think Sylvie would notice there's a lot of decorations, and even some of the language, though subtly done so, only someone from Vicro would be able to identify this, but there's a lot of like Vicarillion, Vicro art, and maybe even like language, like intertwined into some of the tapestries, as well.
Yeah, I imagine because the Vicarians are very big on like heraldry. The houses there that are noteworthy have, you know, their own distinct shields in particular, and so there's probably like some recognizable elements of the heraldry of like some of the more notable houses or whatever that are kind of worked into some of the stuff. I imagine that's very much a telltale thing for if you know, you know. So you enter, and the keep behind the bar kind of looks up and gives you like a nod. Says, "Let me know if you need anything." Then you're kind of free to sit where you'd like.
Sophie looks around and see if she like recognizes anyone. But if she doesn't, I think if you're okay with this, Jeremy, she takes out like a what currency that they would use in Vicryl, and she kind of places it across the counter towards the barkeep.
He picks it up and he kind of looks at it. Blimey, I haven't seen one of these in a while. Where did you come from?
She smiles. I have come from far across the sea.
Indeed. Well, why don't you have a seat, and I'll get you a glass of ale. Something that'll remind you of home.
She nods and gestures over to the others to have a seat.
In short order, he brings over, 4 or 5 drinks, however many there are of you there, and he places the tankards in front of you, and he says, "I'll brew that myself." He kind of like
She
stands
smiles
at
and
the edge of the table, like waiting.
Yeah. Seeing the like expectant look on his face, Sylvie's going to take a sip.
You tell me, how is it?
You know what? I imagine it's maybe a little hoppy, like than than because I think Sylvie is so used to now like all the wines and the sweet that comes from Aladalgo. So tasting this, I think it's like a little bit bitter. So she tries to, even if it's good beer, it's just not to her palate as much. Like tasting a very strong IPA, she kind of like makes a face. Only very briefly. She tries to hide it as much as she can.
That's the stuff there.
She nods. It is it is very tasteful. She full of flavor.
Why, thank you. He turns and he kind of like looks at the woman that's kind of like on the far edge of the room as if to say, "See, I told you."
Meanwhile, Lox has like drained his and set it down, and he points to it and puts up 2.
Coming right up. And he'll go and pour another and keep them coming.
As soon as he turns around, yeah, Guillaume will turn like, is it supposed to be this warm?
Sylvie just kind of shrugs.
Oh, all right. Oh, it's like if tea and coffee were beer.
To be fair, I did leave Vicryl when I was a child. I was not exactly drinking.
Well, I didn't say I hate it. He'll like take another sip. Like, I just wasn't expecting it.
Also,
Lox
the
is
first
like,
time drinking beer. This is disgusting. Let me drink more.
Lox is like, this reminds me of the stuff we used to brew in our saddles when I was with the highwaymen. It's great.
That sounds absolutely delightful. And I think we see Chimera is like just kind of like swirling the glass. not really drinking it, but
Guillaume will even pour a little bit into a vial and top it with a stopper. It's like, I want to save this scent for perfumes. It's really strong and earthy. Just slip it away.
It's fantastic. Because, again, Gerdes being based very much on Spain and France and Italy, and Vicarill is heavily based on England and Germany, so it's very, it's like completely on point, like very heavy, very dark, very punchy kind of beer. Okay. You are left to enjoy, as you do or you don't, for a while. And after a moment, an individual comes by your table, very well dressed and well appointed. You see an individual that looks to be perhaps mixed of Vicarillian and Gerdessi heritage of both. And he comes to the edge of the table and he says, "Well, hello. I don't believe I've ever seen you here before."
Sylvie smiles, nods. We were recommended here.
Ah,
Come, sit. The beer is... Well, have a seat, she says.
it's not very good, unfortunately. He kind of like sits down with a smile. But it is one of the only places you can get Vicarillian ale, so...
She nods. Maybe that is a little fortunate in this case.
My name is Jarek Reinhardt. And he kind of does like a half-hearted kind of more playing at formality kind of bow.
Does that ring a bell for Sylvie at all? That name, or even like this I imagine it's like a pseudonym.
So roll me a history check.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Oh my goodness, that's another one.
Woof.
Oh.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not unless you have an insane bonus.
No, I have a 6.
Okay. So no, Reinhardt definitely sounds like a family name that would belong to Vicarillians, but it doesn't ring any bells for you.
It is nice to meet you. I am Sylvie Levine.
Ah.
And this is Lux and Guillaume and Chimeran. And Vera, if she's with us.
Yes. A pleasure to meet all of you. Funny, I swear I would have taken you for Vicarillian. He kind of looks at Sylvie.
Yes, well, I get that a lot.
Indeed. Well, are you new to the Lover's Balcony? Is your first time here?
Yes, we just got word today, in fact, about it. Thought we would come and see what is here.
I see. And how did you arrive? I thought I overheard you say that you had traveled by sea?
She nods. Long ago, yes.
Oh. And these individuals are friends of yours? The timbre of his voice has kind of changed.
Very good friends, yes.
Very well. He kind of leans in. Why have you contacted us?
My friends and I are in need of the word is asylum, right? Like safety
Sure.
or
Yeah.
yeah. We're in need of safety and safety from particular figures who are quite influential in Aladalgo. And I could not think of a better group of people who know how to avoid such figures, keep hidden in the shadows.
Right. It seems like you lot have gotten into a lot of trouble.
I'm
Again,
sure
his
you are
accent
aware.
has completely changed at this point.
I am sure that you are already aware.
We may or may not be. You're going up against some pretty powerful people.
We have a lot of information. We know a lot of things that they might want.
You need out of the city, or just to be hidden?
Hidden. We need to stay in the city. We still have business.
Well, if you've come to us, then chances are you're not looking for anything near the Saint of Rats. A different avenue. He kind of looks like he's thinking. We might have a safe house that we can put you up in, but I really need more to go on than information we might be interested in.
She nods and she thinks. So meta-wise, I think Sylvie would know this, but Em might not have. Just what would be something that Sylvie wants to give something to them that is not showing our hand too much, but might allude to something.
Okay. Yeah,
that we may know more.
Things that you have at your disposal are the list of the mothers of Mardival that you found. You listed the names of the women who were to be kidnapped and were. You still have at least one iron mask. I know that you have Lavinia's iron mask, at least.
That might be a good thing to
Mm-hmm.
show.
And then you have the journal and the letter that you just found.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the two leather tomes that you found in other people's belongings.
Yeah, maybe those are a little intense to show right off the bat. We also have the things from. Oh no, I don't think Guillaume took the letters from the ship that he was on, right? That was.
Which ship?
Or did he take? He went on the ship and it had names on it, and it was I think it was how we tied Lavinia. Right? I remember.
Oh. Vaguely.
I remember going on the ship. I think I was in rat form the whole time, so I don't think I did
that's
take
right.
anything.
Yeah, it wasn't sailing anywhere. He just went on. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it was like docked.
Black Rose. Yeah, it had the Black Rose insignia, those papers on
That's
it.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
The Lotus. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lavinia's kind of calling card.
Yeah.
Now I remember. Yes.
But I don't think you took those, so I don't think we have those. But I think if we had like one of the masks, I think Sylvie would just kind of show it to him.
This definitely. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and when she does, Chimeran's been watching this man the entire time. when she hands him the mask, I'm concentrating on his face, his reaction. And depending what he does, I'd like to roll an insight check afterwards to kind of read
Okay.
him. But I'll wait till you say what happens.
Okay. He definitely seems his interest is piqued when you produce this mask. He says, "We've seen one or two of these before. Iron masks. You've had a run-in with them?"
A few times we have claimed 2 of them.
I see. Well,
This is just to show that we have had access to these people's lives, their information. I'm sure this will be enough to show that we have something, and I'm sure you understand our hesitation. Considering, even still, even with she says a word in Vicarill, which is
Mhm.
like a sibling or like a brother or sister or something that I think is like the word for this organization.
okay. He kind of shakes his head, nodding. Might be. Might be. You have more information about the Iron Masks and how they're connected to things.
She nods.
All right. Well, you mind if I take this for just a moment? I'll bring it back.
She nods like a show of good faith.
So I think this is where Cameron really want to take that insight check about whether
Mm-hmm.
his interest in us now about the masks, is it like curiosity, we're on the same side, maybe we have information that they want, or is it the curiosity, how much do they know because we want to kill them kind of situation? I think that's what Chimeran's like. Is
All
this
right.
good or bad for us at this point?
Let's get that insight roll.
That will be a 20 because of my ability to make any roll a 9 or under be a 10. So it's a 20.
Fantastic.
Not any
Okay.
roll, but any rolls I'm proficient in.
So he definitely seems somewhat surprised that you're in possession of one of these, and seems genuinely intrigued to hear what information you might have, given the fact that you were able to obtain one of these. As far as whether this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing for you, it's a little harder to read. But you don't think that this is like a trap or a situation where he's going to steal this, or anything like that. This seems like he's genuinely going to go try to show this to someone to basically pass this up the chain to see if this is something that this organization wants to undertake or not.
Right. So like it didn't make him automatically like antagonistic or anything
No.
towards us. Yeah.
No, it didn't seem like it. He's gone for several minutes. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to say or do in the interim before he returns. But if you would, now is the time to do so.
I think Chimeran would check in with Sylvie, make sure she's still okay. That this isn't bringing up things that she doesn't want to deal with. Like it's got to be there's a lot of. Chimeran doesn't know exactly what it is, but he knows there's trauma in this past, and he wants to make sure that she's okay and that this isn't affecting her negatively.
Yeah, no, Sylvie leans in. I do not recognize him or his name. So she seems surprisingly calmer, I think, than a little more relieved, I guess.
I did want to ask Jeremy, this guy, like, did he seem like of like a noble kind of bent, or was he more of a um an everyday kind of person?
So the persona that he was portraying when he first came over was very much an aristocratic air. However, once the veil kind of slipped and it became a conversation about business, it very much struck you more as somebody of the streets, somebody like a ruffian.
Right. And so then when he said the name Jarek Reinhardt, like I'm just wondering, like, I come from like a diplomatic kind of family. That's just why I have so many languages under my belt, if you will. And why I can do some of the things that I do because I learned how to like read people, deceive people, perform for people, that kind of thing. I'm just wondering, did his name at all ring any bells for me? As if it was like a fancy Carillion name, like a
Okay, yeah, absolutely. You can roll a history check.
oh my goodness, that's a 23.
Good grief, Karen.
Dice
Okay,
are hot.
yeah, no joke. Um, yes, absolutely. The Reinhardt family is kind of known um, for being I just completely lost the word. Mercantile seamen, like they take shipments back and forth from Vicaril, and they've kind of been established in Gerdes for a while. So him claiming to be a part of the Reinhardt family makes a lot of sense for the performance that he was giving at first. However, with how well you rolled, you also know that the Jarek individual actually drowned in a shipwreck accident several years ago.
Okay. I think when Sylvie mentions that, she doesn't know the name and that makes her feel better. I think Chimeran is going to risk letting Sylvie know that he probably knows more about her and her past than she thinks that he would at this point. And he would let her know that he knows the Reinhardt family, and that they were mercantile traders, but then would also let her know that the name he's given, like this man is not Jarek, because Jarek is dead.
I think Sylvie honestly would not be surprised at that part. She did not assume that he was going to give his actual name, but though she is a little taken aback, I think, at Chimeran's like, oh yes, I know this and this. She's a little, I think, taken aback by that for sure.
All right. Before long, like I said, several minutes have passed, but Jarek returns. He places the mask kind of on the table and slides it back towards Sylvie. Well, it would appear that our mutual friends are interested in a trade. Your asylum, your protection in the city, in exchange for whatever information that you have on the Iron Masks, on the Padre Primero, and on the Saint of Rats.
Ooh. I think Sylvie's gonna try and keep as good of a poker face as she can.
Okay. Give me a performance roll. Or deception. Performance or deception. Either one's fine.
Okay.
Can I just say that when he says that, when he's like the saint of rats, Lox is like halfway through a beer and he's like, he kind of like coughs into it.
Thank goodness I did roll a 20 for 22.
Damn. Okay. How does Sylvie ace this poker face?
I think you can see, like, she doesn't even move. She doesn't even skip a beat. There's no pause after he says that. But she nods. It is a deal.
And we're in agreement.
Yeah, I think we send Guillaume in for his what he knows about the
His
draws a
favorite
charcoal
positions
sketch.
are.
Yeah.
He's ticklish right in this spot.
You didn't ask what you wanted to know.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
I'll give you all the gory details. Who knew spycraft could be so sexy?
But yeah, that without even missing a beat, yeah, Sylvie nods.
Okay.
We are.
Excellent. Okay. So, I think that you are then allowed to stay here for a while the safe house is arranged and set up for you.
So like if he goes to leave, you know, with that, she wants to catch him by himself for a moment.
Okay, certainly.
If he's like, yeah, leaving, she just kind of excuses herself from the table. I will be right back. And she kind of holds, like, catches him by his arm and.
Ah, yes. He once again has the persona.
Did you know Emilric?
There's a slight smile at the corner of his mouth. Of course, yes. I've met Emmerich a number of times. You wouldn't happen to know where he is, would you?
I was about to ask you the same question.
Well, it appears that we are now in league, so any information would be shared between our two respective parties. No?
She nods.
Wonderful to see you again, he says loud enough for anybody who may be listening.
You can see like there's a real look of concern in her eye.
Oh,
and nothing. And she like.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No,
and if he like, after like a moment or a beat, she says, "And of Lothar. He's gone too."
Yes. We've been writing and have not received any correspondence as of yet, sadly. Most peculiar. Which is why we're so happy to welcome you into our fold. Sylvie. It's a pleasure to do business with you, and I'm happy that you're part of the family.
you can see this hits a sour note with Sylvie. But also you can see the sorrow in her face, like learning that, because I believe that she had received word of that before, but kind of having it confirmed that yeah, there's no contact even amongst their network. You can see that worry on Sylvie's face.
Yeah, and the exchange very much gave you the impression that they are actively looking. Like they seem not necessarily like angry against him, but the fact that he is not in contact is troubling them.
Yeah. Well, now that we are have an arrangement, I will certainly let you know if I hear anything, and you as well.
Of course, dear. Yes. That's what part of being a family means.
Her mouth, like, it's like the thinnest line it can be, not a smile, as she nods, and then she'll return.
I think as Sylvie like turns back, you might catch this brief glimpse of what I'm assuming is all like four of us like craning our necks out of the booth and like snapping back like, no, I didn't think that yeah, no, it was gonna be that way. But then the other thing was oh, Sylvie's returning. Like that very like, no, none of us were staring obviously at you.
Yeah, Lox is like really interested in like a pattern on the table, and he's just like really looking at it.
Chimeran actually does look at you as you come back. He's watching your face. He doesn't say anything to you, but he is watching your face to see how you are doing. Again, he's doing that whole check-in. And just letting you know like he's here if you need him, but he's not he won't say anything. He is just kind of acknowledging that yeah, something's going on with you. And
yeah, she's going to sit, and she is not going to say anything yet, I don't think. But you can tell she's very, very uneasy.
Okay.
I think because of where we're at, Chimeran does that cheesy, silly, let's yawn, and puts his arm around you just to make the situation a little bit lighter than it was.
Yeah, I think for once Guillaume is kind of picking up on the tension and what's the best Vicarian dish that they might serve here? I'll go ask the bartender. I'll see if I can get us some food. It's been a long day.
As you know, as they're getting ready, the safe house, they're going to want a lot of information from us, and they're not going to want to give any up. So, but they might know a lot about what has been going on with the city. Certainly more than anyone else. They might have information that they think is not important or unconnected, and we could get that from them too.
All right. I think that's actually where we're going to go ahead and end the session. So next time we will find a safe house for our heroes here in Aladalco, and perhaps learn a little more with who Sylvie has brought the group into the bed with. And who knows what else? There seems to be a plethora of things to choose from as far as potential fires to put out. So yeah, I think maybe we'll figure out as a group what we want to tackle next time, and that way your DM can have whatever it's going to be prepared, hopefully. And then yeah, we'll rock it out next time. This was fantastic. Like I said, I've wanted to get to the return to Aladalgo for a while. Like I said a little while back, we're very much kind of into the third act of the story that I kind of have planned. So the stakes are really turned up. Everything's kind of on the precipice. Everything is kind of nearing resolution. So I'm really excited for what I have in store and what I know that all of you are going to do with it, because y'all have done nothing but make every single beat of this campaign just absolutely magnificent so far. So thank you for being those kinds of players. I'm going to pass things back over to my players so that they can give any kind of parting words that they would like before we call it a night. So we're going to start in reverse order with Matt.
Oh man, I don't think I've ever gone first before. What an honor. What a privilege to be doing this right now. Tonight's game was great. It was really fun. Just the twist of getting back to Aladalgo and having everything have gone awry was just great. It really did feel like the premiere of a new season of a TV show, where it's just everything is different now, and there's so much stuff to have to deal with. So I'm excited to tackle some of this stuff. And it was fun to get some deep Sylvie backstory stuff. We haven't got a ton of that, so that I'm excited about that and to learn more about what's going on there. So yeah, great game as always, Jeremy, and I'm gonna toss it on over to M.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this session. I think I mentioned this to Jeremy, but I love the idea that, while we're busy doing something, the bad guys are also busy doing their own things, and the world continues to turn with the choices that we make, with what we're focusing on. And I think you've done a very masterful job at that, of us coming back and feeling well, there was no really, we made the best decision that we could, but that doesn't mean that other things aren't in the works always. So very, very cool. I cannot wait to see kind of what this last half, or last, this hot climax of the story will come to. So yeah, it's just super excited overall. So yeah, I will pass it to Austin.
Yeah, hard to figure out what to add to that. I echo everyone else's statements. This has just been a ton of fun. I love the coming back to everything being absolutely fucked, and many of our allies either feeling tapped out or literally off the board for now. Um, I'm so excited to see where this keeps going. It was great to finally get some Sylvie backlore, as we were saying. I can't wait to find out what is up with these weird spies and Vicaril in general. What's their plan? And yeah, we definitely need to come up with a plan of attack of what we're going to lie to them about. What bullshit we're gonna feed them. Because I'm also thinking, I don't know how much useful information we actually have. We've got a lot of disparate pieces that, we're gonna need some help tying all this together. I don't have enough red string. But yeah, this has just been a blast. I can't wait to see where this keeps going, and I love playing with you guys every month. And thank you, Jeremy, for always putting together such a tangled web of monstrous foes that really gives us something to wrestle with every time. It's just a ton of fun. And I'll pass it up to Karen.
Oh, it's been great to get back into this game. so much happened tonight. Like there's so much happened. It's been uh all the information throwing at us and all the the chaos that we've returned to. This is amazing. Cannot wait. I cannot wait actually to see Vera's reaction to having her madam come back. I want to know all about that. So I'm looking forward to that next session. I have been waiting for the Sylvie backstory for such a very long time. So I'm so glad we're starting to delve into that. I cannot wait to find out what we're gonna, dig up and find out about that. And I'm excited. There, yeah, we got peeps to find and save maybe. And Chimeran doesn't want to think about that right now because there's too much else, and he has troubles with feelings and stuff. And so yeah, there's a lot, and I cannot wait for the next session. And I am so glad I have all of you to play with, and I cannot wait for the next session. And thank you. Pass it to you, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you very much, y'all. Yeah, I like creating villains that are fun to hate, and that when the inevitable happens, that it's very rewarding in a very real, like, visceral way. So I'm happy to hear that that's the kind of the way that it's playing, and especially a bad guy like this. Playing an intelligent villain is always something that I've wanted to kind of do and haven't ever really done to this degree. So I wanted it to feel very much like he might always be a step or two ahead. That there's contingencies upon contingencies that are in place. And I'm really glad that everybody seems on board with that turn in the story and is excited to see what comes from that, because I'm really, really looking forward to delving into what this means for each of the characters, and kind of bringing their story, their moment, kind of to the foreground, similarly to what we've done with Chimeran already. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. Thank all of you for being, like I said, just the best players. And again, Kenya, missed you very much. I'm very excited to see how Vera is going to react to this turn of events, because we all know that she's going to have something to say. So yeah. For everybody who has tuned in and watched this game, thank you very much for stopping by and spending some time with us, whether you're watching live or whether you tuned in at some point later on down the road. It really does mean a lot to me that people come to the channel for entertainment, and that they find some fun or education, a mix between the two, by watching the games that we run here. So thank you. Do all the stuff that the YouTube algorithm likes to see. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tap the bell or whatever. Share the link around, talk about it with people, send them over. If you like what you saw this evening, check out some of the other stuff that we have. There's a ton of games on the channel, covering a ridiculous variety of systems and settings and genres and tones. So yeah, I think that's just about everything. Oh, remember, kindness is a free action. It costs you absolutely nothing to be kind to people. And the world is a really shitty place right now, in a lot of ways. So a lot of people have stuff going on in their lives that you have no clue about. They could be struggling really hard, and sometimes a stranger's kindness could be something that changes the entire day for them, the entire week even. So if it costs you nothing to be kind to someone, and it could make a massive difference in what's going on in their life, always a positive influence, then again, that's an easy trade to make. It makes perfect sense. And as it so happens, if we do want a better world to live in, that's exactly how we do it. That right there, that's the solution. So go out, be kind to people. unless you're a Nazi, and then punch them in the face. So, I think that's everything that I have to say. So, until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.